Okay, here is the beginning of the most wonderful section of the seventh canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. We saw how some of the greatest demigods and inhabitants of the different planetary systems, they were offering their choicest prayers before Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva in the previous chapter. And great personality like Brahma, he was praising the Supreme Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva as the transcendental, all-powerful Lord, and Lord Shiva particularly was requesting Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva to get pacified and not be very angry because this is not the time for destruction of the universe. So in this way, different demigods, they were offering their prayers to pacify Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, and what we find here is that none of them dared not come forward before the Lord, who at that time was still extremely angry with Hiranyakashipu. Although Hiranyakashipu had already been killed by the Supreme Lord. And who is narrating this whole thing? This is narrated by Narad Muni. And Narad Muni is narrating this whole pastime to Maharaj Yudhishthir. That's how the whole seventh canto began. And he's pointing to Maharaj Yudhishthir that none of these great personalities were able to pacify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nṛsiṁhadeva. And at that time, the demigods headed by Brahma and Shiva, they were standing fearfully before the angry Lord. And Lakshmi ji was requested to go before the Lord by all the demigods present, who also, because of fear, could not do so. Now, Lakshmi Devi is the consort of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. Even she was unable to approach her own husband, and she refused to go forward. And at this time, Lord Brahma, who is the spiritual master of Narad Muni, who is narrating this whole sequence of events, Brahma requested Prahlāda Maharaj. Prahlāda Maharaj is a disciple of Narad Muni. So you can see the beautiful relationship here. So Brahma requested Prahlāda Maharaj, who was standing very near him, that my dear son, Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva is extremely angry at your demoniac father. Please go forward and appease the Lord. And Prahlāda alone remained unafraid. And we are going to find that the prayers of that little boy, Prahlāda Maharaj, will soon pacify the Supreme Lord of the universe. The devotion of Prahlāda was so strong that it will evoke affection in the heart of Nṛsiṁhadeva, that is going to completely dissolve the anger that he was carrying. So, in other words, the Supreme Lord won't be able to both reciprocate with Prahlāda's love and at the same time maintain his anger. It's the love in the heart of Prahlāda that is completely pulverizing the anger that is still situated in Nṛsiṁhadeva. And what is that anger about? That anger is about, here is a great demon, Hiranyakashipu, who tried to inflict pain upon my devotee. That is the anger here. And therefore that rage is just so strong that none of the demigods were able to deal with it. So only devotee like Prahlāda Maharaj was capable of pacifying the Supreme Lord. So in that sense, Prahlāda's position right now is above even the greatest of the demigods because of the devotion that is being carried by Prahlāda. Srila Prabhupada writes in purport number 1, this mood of love that is exchanged between the Supreme Lord and his devotee. A devotee of the Lord cannot tolerate blasphemy of the Lord or his other devotees. And the Lord also cannot tolerate blasphemy of a devotee. Thus, Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva was so very angry that the great demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, and even the goddess of fortune, who is the Lord's constant companion, could not pacify him. Even after offering prayers of glorification and praise, no one was able to pacify the Lord in his anger, but because the Lord was willing to exhibit his affection for Prahlāda Maharaj, all the demigods and the others present pushed Prahlāda Maharaj forward to pacify him. So here clearly Prahlāda Maharaj, who is accepting the request of his Param Guru, like in the sense Prahlād's Guru is Narad Muni, Narad Muni's Guru is Brahma, and Brahma is the one who is requesting Prahlāda Maharaj. So he is requesting. So Prahlāda is also not, approaching in a proudful manner, but he is humbly approaching as requested by Lord Brahma. And as he approached Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, he fell at the Lord's lotus feet. So, although the exalted devotee Prahlāda Maharaj was only a little boy, he accepted Lord Brahma's words. He gradually proceeded towards Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva and fell down to offer his respectful obeisances with folded hands. The expression is a verb pada mule patitam tam arbhakam vilokya. But upon seeing, so when Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva saw the small boy Prahlāda Maharaj prostrated at the soles of his lotus feet, he became most ecstatic in affection towards his devotee. This is the relationship. This is the beautiful personal relationship between the Supreme Lord and his devotee. This whole section should at least bring out this conception that the Supreme Lord ultimately is not impersonal, is completely personal. It's a loving reciprocation that is inviting the Supreme Lord to bring out his ultimate mercy. And so what did Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva do? He became ecstatically affectionate. He raised the boy and blessed him, placing his lotus hand, which created fearlessness in his devotee. Now this must be remindful of a very similar situation that happened in the 4th canto with another small boy called Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj was unable to speak when he came in face to face with Lord Vishnu after his meditation got completed. And what did Lord Vishnu do? He touched the head of Dhruva Maharaj with his conch shell. Very similarly here, Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva is touching the head of Prahlāda Maharaj, right? With what? His lotus hands, or here it is called out his paw, because he's in the shape of half lion, half human kind of form. So he's touching, and with that, what happened is beautifully described by the 6th verse. The 6th verse, I love it, because the emotions are captured very beautifully. What happened when the lotus hands of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva touched the head of Prahlāda Maharaj? So the last line captures very beautifully. Rishyat tanu klin hrid ashru lochana. 3 things. Rishyat tanu. Rishyat tanu means the body became ecstatic. Transcendental ecstatic bliss started manifesting on the body of Prahlāda Maharaj. Klin hrid. The heart became klin, completely softened due to transcendental ecstasy. And ashru lochana. The eyes were filled with tears. And all of these are essentially exhibition of removal of all inebriety. So satat kara sparsha. So kara sparsha means the touch of the hand of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. With that dhuta akhila ashubha. Dhuta means be getting cleansed. Akhila means all, and ashubha means all inauspiciousness or any sort of tinge of material desires completely gone. And this is how Srila Prabhupada translates it. By the touch of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva's hand on Prahlāda Maharaj's head, Prahlāda was completely freed of all material contaminations and desires, as if he had been thoroughly cleansed. This is the reason why we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. It is to clean our heart. And this is the effect that Prahlāda Maharaj was experiencing with the touch of the lotus hands of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. Therefore, he at once became transcendently situated, and all the symptoms of ecstasy became manifest in his body. His heart filled with love, and his eyes with tears, and thus he was able to completely capture the lotus feet of the Lord within the core of his heart. What an amazing expression. Tad pada padmam ridhi nivritto dadho. He was completely capturing the lotus feet of the Lord within the core of his heart. Just imagine the situation. This is the state of affairs of Prahlāda Maharaj, with which he then starts actually speaking the prayers. So how potent those prayers would be. Just imagine. Text number 5, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport and gives us a formula by which we all can become fearless. Prabhupada writes, in this material world, everyone is in fearful consciousness. Sada samudvigna dhyam. This came into the picture, this particular phrase came into the picture when Prahlāda had his first encounter with Hiranyakashipu. Sada samudvigna dhyam. He was pointing to Hiranyakashipu that, look, in this material world, everyone is in fearful consciousness. And the only means to make everyone fearless is Krishna consciousness. When Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva appeared, all the devotees became fearless. The devotees' hope of becoming fearless is to chant the holy name of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. Yato yato yami tato Nṛsiṁhaha. This is what we pray like when we are singing Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva's prayers. Wherever we go, we must always think of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. Thus there will be no fear for the devotee of the Lord. This is the point that we need to take to our heart from this section. That anytime we want to become fearless in this fearful condition of this material world, all we have to do is remember Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. And remember this beautiful interaction between Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva and Prahlāda Maharaj. So Prabhupada writes in this 6th verse, which we just read about, where Prabhupada highlights a fault that stops us from situating in our transcendental state. Prabhupada writes, on the strength of these verses from the Bhagavad Gita, which were 14.26 and 9.32, it is evident that although Prahlāda Maharaj was born in a demoniac family, and although virtually demoniac blood flowed within his body, he was cleansed of all material bodily contamination because of his exalted position as a devotee. In other words, it doesn't matter in which kind of family one is born in what kind of circumstances we are surrounded by, it just doesn't matter. All we have to work on is on the purity of our heart by accepting the process of Krishna consciousness, which is primarily hearing and chanting. In the case of Prahlāda Maharaj, he demonstrated that all throughout by remembering the Supreme Lord. Whenever Hiranyakashipu would try to kill Prahlāda Maharaj was always absorbed in the thought of the Lord. So that is the key qualification of Prahlāda Maharaj, because of which he was most exalted. Even among the most exalted personalities that were present there, including Brahma and Lord Shiva and Lakshmi Devi, none of them had the qualification of pacifying the Supreme Lord. In other words, such impediments on the spiritual path. So what is the impediment on the spiritual path? The impediment could be just the material conditions of life, like one may be born in a certain family, like in the case of Prahlāda Maharaj was born in a demoniac family, and therefore one may consider from external standpoint he had a contaminated blood flowing through his veins. In fact, Prahlāda Maharaj uses that phrase later on in his prayers. We are going to see. He's taking a very humble position, that he recognizes himself as a demoniac entity, being the son of the greatest demon, Hiranyakashipu. But in all possible respects, we can see that Prahlād's position, the internal position, is higher than even the demigods. So such impediments, meaning the external conditions on the spiritual path, could not stop him from progressing. And this is what we need to understand. There is no external impediment to our internal progress. So such impediments on the spiritual path could not stop him from progressing, for he was directly in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whenever we are uttering the names Krishna, Rama, Hare, we are directly put in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's how potent these sound vibrations are. And therefore we all have the same opportunity to receive this kind of grace of the Supreme Lord. Those who are physically and mentally contaminated by atheism cannot be situated on the transcendental platform. But as soon as one is freed from material contamination, he is immediately fit to be situated in devotional service. So the point is that we all have the same kind of opportunity to receive the grace of the Supreme Lord. And so now Prahlāda Maharaj fixes his mind as well as sight upon Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva with full attention in complete trance. In fact, when Srila Vyasadeva was also composing Srimad Bhagavatam, his expression was also like this, like the description was exactly like this, that he was completely filled with attention on the Supreme Personality of Godhead in complete trance. And with that he was composing Srimad Bhagavatam. So likewise, in the case of Prahlāda Maharaj, he was fixing his mind and sight on Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva with full attention in complete trance. With a fixed mind, he began to offer prayers in love with a faltering voice. So we need to really visualize this whole condition in which Prahlāda Maharaj is beginning to offer his prayers before Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. And these are the most celebrated prayers in the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam. I would say some of the most celebrated prayers in the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam. They are so celebrated that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to, regularly recite and hear from Gadadhar Pandit these prayers, and he would not actually get tired. He would like to say, okay, you finished, now start again. This is how much, potent these prayers are, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, was so much attracted to these prayers. So we are going to begin Prahlāda Maharaj's prayers starting from tomorrow. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare